What's up guys, it's Ivan, and today I am going to react to a blog post by the Harvard Graduate School of Education Admissions Office where they detail a couple of tips on how to write your statement of purpose. Before we get into the video, I do want to remind you that I offer a statement of purpose review service on the freelance platform called Fiverr, which is linked down below. If you want constructive feedback from an alumni of the Harvard Graduate School of Education for your statement of purpose, I will provide that with my review service. I look forward to working with you. If you are applying for a Master's of Education or the PhD program at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, you need to do extensive research on what the programs entail. The HGSE admissions office does have a blog where current students, which are actually admissions ambassadors, use this blog post to write tips about the application, but also to write about their experiences. When I went to HGSE back in 2016, I was actually an admissions ambassador, and I do have a couple of blog posts on this blog. So this is a great resource for you to be able to not only learn how to tackle the application, but also get some information on what it's like to be a student at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. So the title of the blog post is EdM Statement of Purpose Tips. So this means that they're going to be giving you tips for the master's program. The author is Katie Filiakova, and she is going to graduate in 2024. So this next upcoming year. Do I have enough experience to write a complete statement of purpose? This was the question I asked myself in September of 2022 when I first started thinking about applying to grad schools. How do I fit my entire life story into 1,500 words and not go over the limit? I asked myself a couple of weeks later after I roughly outlined my journey in my notebook. As it turned out, both questions were a bit misaligned. Writing a strong statement of purpose is a scary feat because there's so much to cover. Passions, aspirations, and inspirations, pivotal experiences, stories, role models, goals, and dreams all have a place in your statement of purpose. Here are some tips that helped me stay organized and deliberate as I wrote my statement of purpose for the EdM application to HGSE. Alright, so in this little paragraph, the introductory paragraph that the blogger wrote, I want to comment on a couple of things. So they mention that you only have 1,500 words, and there are so many ways to tackle this. So she talks about talking about your passions, aspirations, inspirations, pivotal experiences, stories, role models, goals, and dreams. And so I agree with the author that there's a place for every single one of these components in your statement of purpose, but I do want to advise you that there is a structure that you could follow to be able to touch base on all these components. And it's important for you to share your pivotal experiences, and later on she describes this in her advice. So let's get back into the blog post. So her first piece of advice is identify what brought you to the decision to get an EdM degree before you start writing. There is no blueprint for this because all of us will have different pivotal moments in our journey that led us to applying to HGSE. Outlining turning points in your journey that made you look towards graduate education can help you stay grounded and remember your why, which is crucial for a strong statement of purpose. Was it an experience you had as a student or the experience of your own students? Did a particular role and model inspire you? When and how did you recognize that something was missing from your professional toolkit that EdM degree can help you gain? A list of such moments and realizations can work as a plan for structuring your statement. I completely agree with this piece of advice. You need to identify a strong reason as to why you're pursuing a graduate degree, but a graduate degree at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. They are seeking people that have passion for impact in education. So I really like how this author mentioned that you have to have like an aha moment. Usually when I advise people on their statement of purposes, their first paragraph after the introduction should be a personal experience that provided that aha moment of why they want to go to HGSE, but really what impact they want to make in the education sector. So I really liked how this author gave you some probing questions on how you can think about this aha moment. So think about your experience with your students, or maybe your experience as a student navigating education. Once you have done that, you also want to think about the gaps in your knowledge and skill sets. So I really liked how this author said, when and how did you recognize that something was missing from your professional toolkit that an EdM degree can help you gain? Oftentimes when I read statement of purpose, a lot of the prospective applicants that I work with want to showcase their great achievements. That is important, but really in the statement of purpose, they're looking for people that still have some type of knowledge or skill to learn so they can make a greater impact on the education sector. So use your statement of purpose to showcase that you have identified some type of challenge in your work that you hope to learn more about when you're at Harvard. HGSE does not just want people who have all these great achievements. They want people who still need to learn more knowledge or skills or to gain experiences to make a greater impact. So think about the gaps in your skill sets and address those in the statement of purpose. Contrary to what I thought, a good statement of purpose does not require you to write your entire life story. What an applicant needs to focus on is their journey towards the field of education and toward a specific school and program. Here are some things that ended up on my brainstorming list and later in my statement of purpose. The way I felt as an international student coming to college in the US. How joining my college's residence life staff changed the way I think about community and belonging. My leadership on campus. An eye-opening sociology class I took and 2 books that helped me understand the social and political implications of identity. The initiatives I pursued in my full-time work and the ways I felt restricted by lack of understanding of the inner workings of higher education institutions. Again, I completely agree with the author. You don't have to write your full life story in your statement of purpose. I do like how the author said, focus on your journey towards the field of education and towards a specific school and program. So I want you to think about which one of HGSE's programs really fits with your career goals and maybe research interests. I also want you to document your journey in the field of education as it pertains to your sector. So are you looking at the education policy sector, higher education, social emotional learning, well-being, ed tech? Are you looking at being a teacher or teacher preparation? Identify what your sector is and make sure your statement of purpose fits within that theme. So figure out a theme that you want your whole statement of purpose to focus on and use every piece of your story to describe how you got to that theme. And that's going to be your thesis. I do like the way that this author approached their statement of purpose. So they wrote a list of different experiences that fit their theme. So I want you to do something similar. Answering the how did I get here question is only a part of the statement of purpose. The other half is where do I want to go from here? What kind of impact do you want to have on education and on students? What do you want to change to accomplish? What population do you want to serve? How did your previous experience influence your aspirations for the future? What have you already done to work towards your goal? And what still needs to be done? This was simultaneously the easiest and the hardest part for me. It took me multiple brainstorming sessions to formulate exactly what I want to accomplish and how I want to serve my students. Coincidentally, outlining my own professional goals also helped me pick the right programs to apply to. I was able to compare my aspirations to what different schools and programs had to offer and find the right opportunities for me. So this piece, again, I completely agree on. I really like the probing questions that this author wrote here. Oftentimes, I ask these exact questions to people that do come to me for a statement of purpose review on my service. I ask them these probing questions. So when you are drafting your statement of purpose, you want to identify a certain population you want to impact. That could be a region, that could be a demographic population, that can be a state, a country. You want to be specific in terms of who you want to impact. You also want to describe how you want to impact them. And then you also want to describe how have you already attempted to do that work? Where are your gaps in skills and knowledge? And how can HGSE help you in making a greater impact to that group of students or community? Those are questions you have to talk about in your statement of purpose. So the next piece is titled, Tie Together Your Past and Future Through the Lens of Your Chosen Program. Knowing what impact you want to have is great, but showing how it ties into your specific program choice is essential. The admissions office wants to know how HGSE and the particular program you're applying to are a good fit to your background and how they can help you achieve your goals. What are some components of the program that will help you gain the skills you need? How does the program format work for you? Maybe there are professors you are excited to engage or classes you are looking forward to taking. The strongest statement of purpose will provide a clear connection between the program and the applicant's goals. For this step, I advise everyone to do as much research as possible. Ask yourself, what genuinely excites me about this program? What am I looking forward to learning learning or pursuing? What opportunities are there available not only in the program but also in the school that would benefit me? What experiences and knowledge can I bring to this program's cohort? What helped me a lot was going on a deep digital dive and looking through HGSE's websites, social media accounts, and past webinar recordings. I also attended many info sessions, both about the application process and about student life. What I also kept in mind throughout the process was, do I see myself here? Can I imagine spending a year in this community? Am I excited to learn with and from them? As you can tell so far, I agree with many of these points. Again, I do offer similar advice in all the other HGSE videos I have on this channel, but also to my clients that I work with on HGSE statement of purposes. So I really liked how this blog post writer talked about fit. Fit is very important at the graduate school level, so I want to make sure that you write faculty you want to work with, whether it's in research or in their courses, name drop those courses. I often see people saying, oh yeah, I want to take courses that are focused on social emotional well-being, but they don't state the actual course and who teaches that course. You want to be that specific when you're writing your statement of purpose. Then you want to mention how that course is going to fulfill your lack of knowledge and skill, similar to what this blog post writer wrote. Once you have done that, you want to look at other opportunities that are going to expand your skills and knowledge to make the impact you want to make that you wrote earlier in the statement of purpose. So make sure you take a deep dive like this blog post writer did, and I want you to review the website, look at this blog, review the recordings, attend info sessions, talk to alumni, talk to professors, talk to current students. I want you to engage as much as possible with HGSE. When I was applying to HGSE, I did all of these things that this blog post writer did as well. I was very deep into knowing what HGSE community looked like and how that can apply to my skill sets in advancing my work and myself as a scholar. I was borderline obsessive with getting into HGSE, and it sounds like this blog post writer and current student was also obsessive. So I want you to be as obsessive as we were when we were applying to HGSE. The next section's titled, Why Now? A lot of applicants will be at a crossroads. Some are looking for a career change. Others will have been in the field of education for years and want to expand their skills into networks. Your statement of purpose should address why grad school is the best choice for you in this particular moment. Why are you applying now? Why not in 3 years? Why not last year? It is helpful to think back to your goals and your why and ask yourself, what will I be able to do with my EdM degree that I cannot do right now? How will an EdM degree further my development and help me make the impact I want to make? So these are questions that you can answer in your conclusion. I completely agree with this blog post writer, and I would go further and explaining who you are and what perspective you can bring to the cohort and institution alongside answering the questions that I read earlier in this section here. You want to leave a lasting impression to the committee of who you are, what you care about, what your career goals are, and how you're going to make an impact in the education sector. The next piece of advice is it takes a lot of drafts. A lot more than you may think. Start early and don't be afraid to keep working on your statement over a long period of time. As you are working on it, some aspects will become more or less relevant, more pivotal experiences will resurface, and your story will become clearer and clearer. What I did multiple times was completely leave my statement of purpose draft for a week and then come back to reread it with a fresh outlook. It helped me identify parts that did not quite connect or make sense, as well as the gaps and excessive wording. This statement of purpose for not only HGSE but other competitive programs does take multiple drafts and a lot of time. It took me about 3 to 4 months to perfect my statement of purpose before I felt comfortable submitting it. And so I want you to keep working on the statement of purpose and revise it every week until you feel comfortable submitting your statement of purpose. Ask for advice. I cannot overemphasize this enough. Your statement of purpose must be written entirely by you, but it does not mean you cannot ask for other people's thoughts or input. We all have people that helped us on our journey. Teachers, advisors, coaches, supervisors, and colleagues, and even family. People that are familiar with our journey, dreams, and accomplishments. Give them your statement draft and ask what they think. For my fellow international students who may not have mentors that are familiar with the US specific application process, feel free to explain it to them and ask. Tell them that this statement is supposed to reflect your journey and goals, and ask if they think your statement accomplishes that goal. Okay, so this is really important. Once you drafted a couple of drafts for your statement of purpose, ask others to read your statement. I did like how this blog post writer gave you some advice on what you should tell the reader to look for. So you want to tell the reader to think if it really reflects who you are as a person and as a scholar, and most importantly, an educator. If you want my expert advice, like I mentioned earlier, I do offer a statement of purpose review service, which you can find in the link down below, and I will gladly give you constructive feedback on what can make you a competitive applicant for the Harvard Graduate School of Education. I hope this video really helped you think about how to write your statement of purpose for the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Let me know if you have questions down below in the comments, and I will answer them as soon as I get them. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.